Welcome to the Perspectives Podcast. Josue here. As you guys probably already know, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I attended the Oral Roberts University. I live in the great country of Texas, as I've been told it is called. Fellow believer. And to my right, we have Mr. Chase Brown himself. He was also born in Texas. He attended the University of North Texas. He's an aspiring philanthropic creative, and it is June 26th, and he still loves very long walks on the beach. Why that is, I'm not sure. Chase Brown, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You got the date right this time.
I did get the date right.
So there you go.
I think I got it right last time too.
No. We'll leave that to the listeners to decide. But doing good, man. A little tired. Ready for some pizza after this.
Ooh,
I'm really looking forward to that. But it's good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's always a good time. I was hanging out on the podcast. As you guys probably already know, every single time, not every time, but a lot of times when we have a podcast, we try to bring on special guests. And today we have another special guest. He's a 10-time Tulsa
Individual of the year.
Individual of the year. A 5-time Young Adults Pastor of the Year. A 2-time Mr. Preachers with Sneakers, or however that thing is called. A 1-time African of the Year.
And then a probably 28-time at this point person who looks the most like Kobe Bryant in the World Award.
True. That has been his since 2011. Segun, how you doing, man? That was a long introduction.
What is happening?
If you guys can remember, we had him back in the day, a couple episodes, many episodes back.
26.
Episode 26.
Dang,
we talked
he remembers
about
the number. On June 26th, I was
Ooh.
episode 26. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Look
Look
at
at how
God.
God works stuff out, man.
Shoot.
Man.
Couldn't be me though. But anyways, man, yeah, this is gonna be a great episode. I feel like you guys will be able to smile, laugh, and learn a lot about. I feel like we haven't done one of these since Cali. About cultures.
Been a minute.
Been a minute, so it's gonna be exciting. But how have you been?
Man, I've been good. It's cool to hear all those fake stats
Wow.
that
So
I've
humble.
never heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear those. You know, it made me feel good about myself. So
Wow.
anytime I'm having a bad day, I just need to shout out to Chase and Josue. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah, but
Just
I've been
let us
good.
know.
I've been good. We here in Tulsa just living, doing the preachers and sneakers thing.
Yeah, play those preachers.
But I mean that is true. But
yeah,
you know, we're grinding, trying to make sure we're obedient to what we're supposed to do. So
Yeah, man. That's so good. And yeah, it's been great to get to know you over the last year or so. I mean, granted, you and Josue go back.
yeah,
I mean, how many years at this point?
you came in 2011, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Tomorrow's
2011.
us.
Yeah. So I've known you for 10 years, dog.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's a decade, right?
Shoot, that's a whole decade, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, y'all been through a lot.
You know how
Yeah.
Drake just won the artist of the decade?
Yeah,
I think we just won friends of the decade or something like that.
Facts.
So
That's real. That's real.
That's an award.
That's a tough award, man.
Yeah.
So it's a big one, but you gotta rap together. You gotta
Yeah. I mean, the
all that
crazy
good
thing is
stuff.
like,
Yeah. When you putting your rap out, bro?
huh?
When you putting your rap out?
Listen, listen. I'm not about to drop
Spit
no
something
bars
right now.
I'm
Hey,
gonna
just
spit
get
something.
just get Montel on
Let
the
me
beat
get a
and you'll
beat.
be
Let me
good.
get a beat.
boom.
Okay. Yo, I'm about to go in. Someone turn me up on the mic. It's that boy, yeah. That's me. Hey, I'm rapping in this house, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Run it
you're
back.
whack, bro.
I haven't done this in a minute.
Yeah,
so.
bro, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
it's
We just gonna
understand.
keep the pod going.
Yeah.
That was
let's not get
bad.
too distracted. You know what I'm saying? But so last time we had you on for about maybe 30 minutes. We kept those episodes a little bit shorter, so our audience, our people, didn't really get to hear or get to know you as much.
Yeah.
And I think at the time you were doing young adults.
Yeah,
here.
I was a youth pastor,
Youth pastor. at the
but
time,
we
right?
were in COVID.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all were in Texas and we zoomed in
Correct.
and we recorded that one and posted it. But yeah, a lot's changed since then. That's been almost a year later now.
Mhm.
So it's just been crazy. A whirlwind of transition and change, but it's been good, man. It's good to be back. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good. And we're excited to have you on to be able to talk a little bit about culture and then just see what other things in life kind of come
yeah,
up
man.
along that journey.
Absolutely.
So yeah, open it up with sharing just how your family came over to the country,
Yeah.
where I'm stealing Joshua's question here, but where y'all people are from
Yeah.
and everything like that.
Man, first of all, like I don't think I tell this story enough.
Mm.
And it's cool to actually sit down and talk to people about it and just give some people perspective on, my family, our history, legacy, all that. But we won the lottery.
Mm.
Okay.
Can you explain what that is for those of us that might not understand?
Yeah. So a lot of y'all thinking, oh, they won the lottery. This man got hella money.
Mm.
No, that's not
Yeah.
the type of lottery
Yeah.
we won. We
Yeah.
won something called the green card lottery.
Mm.
And so if you win that, you basically get to pick where you want to land. Like you could go to this country, but specifically for us, it was to America. And so it was just crazy because what's mad wild is like we didn't even apply. Somebody applied for us.
Mm.
That's how wild it was. If somebody was like, hey, they picked up the phone, called us, hey, by the way, I applied for y'all because I felt like this is what the Lord told me to do. And next thing you know, we get a call from the embassy talking about, oh, y'all won, pack your bags, you're going to America. So that in itself was just, the first miracle and the first sign that God wanted us here and there's something that we're supposed to do here in the States that if he made a way like that, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got here. I was born in Nigeria and I lived there till I was 7. So I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I lived there till I was 7. And then we won the lottery. We packed our bags, came over to Maryland. And then after Maryland, I lived in Maryland for 3.5 years. After Maryland, moved to Colorado. And then that's when I went 6th grade through high school. So, yeah, man, our family it's just been crazy to see how God has orchestrated everything. But we're here now, man, and it's a blast. It's a blast.
And I think I saw a post that Gigi, shout out to Gigi, she had the other day about how we don't give enough credit to to our parents that sacrificed everything that they had, dreams and all that stuff for the sake of bringing their families to a foreign land, foreign place. Have family around. So speak to that a little bit about your that sacrifice that your parents had to make to bring you guys here in a foreign country, having to learn laws and almost being. I feel like parents that are immigrants in the country, they have to be almost over protective when it comes to the law, like obey the law, obey the law, obey the law, obey the law.
Yeah, because they might get sent back.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And with your last boy that was in office, he would have. But anyway, not to get on a tangent, I think I used to get mad at my parents a lot for not knowing a lot of stuff about the American culture. I used to get so heated. Like, yo, what the heck? Y'all set me up for failure. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I kept thinking. But then as you get older, you begin to realize what they did might be one of the toughest things to do. And this is going to be a hot take, but one of the toughest things to do since slavery. Right? Like, you escaped your place, right, where you were living. It was bad conditions for us specifically. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but you escaped your place where you're at, and you get to a place where it's the proverbial land of milk and honey, and it's this place where you have so many opportunities, and you forge a life, a brand new life, not knowing nobody, not having any connections. Like, it's just crazy. And then to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and say, hey, we at least force something for ourselves. It just blows my mind to think about the mental fortitude of my parents, to think about the resilience of my parents, to think about the strength, the sheer will, and the dependence on the Holy Spirit. Yeah, man, like it's crazy because now I don't even look at them and be like, dang, y'all set me up for failure. You know, one of the things that I always was mad about was like, why didn't y'all find out about student loans before I went to school, man? But, you know, I think they were sold a dream, low key, that was like, yo, they'll get out. And I think we're all sold this dream. You'll get out of college. You'll find a good job. You'll be able to pay these off like that. But no one ever tells you how much $50,000 is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And so our parents, they did such an admirable job. And I speak to every immigrant parent and every person that is a part of an immigrant family, or you're a first generation American. I speak to those people and be like, man, give your parents some grace because they did everything they knew and everything they could. And now it's up to you, right, to pick up from where they left off and what they knew. And now you have double the information and double the responsibility to be able to create a better life and a legacy for your family. So, yeah, man, I appreciate my parents' sacrifice a lot. So,
yeah, and it's super interesting. So I was talking with Taffy at lunch about, like, from a business perspective of like how important like just like connections and relationships are, and just how many doors are able to open through that.
Yeah.
And it like just now hitting me like from a like immigrant's perspective of like going to like any country of like not knowing anyone, and at that point like especially even a language barrier would make it even like harder.
Yeah.
And so from there being like, okay, like how do I get to know people to be able to find things out and just simply like have a community of like people that love me. Like not even just from like a how do I like survive in this like society perspective, but from like a love and like community perspective too. It'd be so it'd be so difficult. Yeah. And so like did the church at all play a part in that, or like how did that develop?
No, looking back, I think the number one currency, right, in the world is not something that's monetary, right? I think the number one currency is time, right? How do you spend your time? But then the number one commodity in the world is relationship, right? Relationships are, the backbone to which everything is built on, right? You don't get an apple without having a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? You don't get I don't know. I'm thinking about different companies. You don't get a Tesla. You don't get a Burger King. You don't get a Perspectives Worldwide, you know what I'm saying, without relationship. Yeah. And I think so many of us, and I would even say this for people in kind of like more rigid areas of society, like a California or a New York, where it's like if you're nice to somebody, people are like, bro, are you good? Like what you doing? Like what's your agenda here? You know what I'm saying?
You drink too much coffee today.
Right. Like you must be tweaking. You on drugs or something. You know what I'm saying? But like I think people have to begin to understand that your number one asset is your ability to build a relationship. The number one gift that God has given you, and it's the pastor in me, but we were created to be relational beings. Like you think about that. If I'm created in the image of God, he said, let us make man in our own image. Who was he talking about? The relationship he had. Yeah. right? So if we're created to be relational beings, I think that speaks a lot into what my parents did in forging relationships, even with the, you know, accent and with the language barrier and the way you understand things. Because here's what's crazy. Nigeria was colonized by the British. So a lot of our terminology and phrasing is much different from America's.
American English, yeah.
So it's like American English, there was this disconnect anytime my parents would try to forge a relationship. And I saw so much hurt for my parents and how much they tried to forge those relationships. But what I also saw was they never gave up in trying to forge those relationships, because they understood that your relational capacity is what will set you up for whatever God wants to do. God uses people, right, to move forth dreams, visions, plans, whatever. And so in the same way, we need people. And so the church didn't play much of a role in it until probably a year and a half in, where we did finally find that community and that church body to where we were able to then have those solid friendships and relationships, you know, that we would build on for years to come. So
yeah. And then I have this question in my mind. I don't want to lose it. I can't really write it down. So I'm just going to ask it, but don't answer it. Answer this other one.
Okay.
We'll come back to it later.
Yeah. I remember it.
What is the importance then for those of us, everybody, of because we know there's certain places where there's a lot of immigrant communities, families. What's the importance of reaching out to those families and making sure that they, you know, feel welcome and included in their environment? Because sometimes it's like we tend to do our own thing, right? Because we're all living our lives, you know. But so let's hold that, put it on the table, as they say, shelf it. But anyway, so you come to America. You come to America, 7 years old. You move to Colorado around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So what are these things that you're picking up on? You know, whether it's what are the small things you're already picking up? Because 7 years old, you've already lived a little bit. You know, in Nigeria. What are some of the things you're starting to notice that are different?
In Nigeria, I realized how hot it was. You know what I'm saying?
In America or
in Nigeria? In Nigeria. We're close to the equator. And so your boy, if you see a picture of me, you understand that your boy is nice and chocolate. And that is due to the fact that your boy was hot
in the
all the time in the African sun. You know what I'm saying? In that African sun. And I remember growing up, I had a problem with it. And I'll get to that in a little bit, but I had a problem with how dark I was, you know. But, you know, I think going back to just basically the root of us being in America, right? The things that I began to pick up from Nigeria to America, drastic difference. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm thinking about, you know, how sarcasm is a big deal in America, right? I come to America, people are being sarcastic. I want to fight because I'm like, why are you saying it like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting frustrated because I don't understand that this is something that friends do, or like they do it amongst themselves. And I'm like, yo, you don't talk to me like that too. But, you know, I started picking up. The first thing I learned when I came to America was how to talk to a girl. Man, oh man, I'll tell you what, it's the thing that changed my life.
Wow.
Because if you could talk to a girl, you could do anything in this world. I'm telling you right now. But literally,
break that down.
No, break that down.
What that mean?
What's that mean for us? No, we can save that one for another pod. But I remember that was the first thing that I really learned how to do was talk to a girl. Like, I remember, because I remember we went to a public school, And then we went to a magnet school. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but magnet schools are weird. And then we went to a private Christian school. So we went to public, magnet, and then private. I remember when I got to public school, that was the first school I went to. Man, it was a rough experience because I ran into bullies for the first time. But then also I ran into the African American culture of, hey, you got to be slick with the tongue. You know, you got to have a silver spoon. Or what is it? What do they say? Is that how you say it? You got to anyway.
No,
You got to be slick.
no, yes, that's not silver spoon.
Silver spoon. So bad.
No, man. I'm out here talking. Hey, cut that from the pod, bro. I'm out here talking.
I might have to leave you out there.
Oh no, it's messing a silver spoon. I'm like, we go with this.
That's not even how you say it. But you got a silver tongue. That's what it is. You got to have a silver tongue. So basically, that's what I learned. And then I remember I got my first fight. My first fight was with a girl because she was trying to bully my sisters. So now I'm running into bullies. And then the next thing I learned was how to play basketball, right? So then basketball becomes my first love. And so I'm picking up these different things and how, you know, just culturally everything is just a little bit different than, you know, but you have to take it all in. It's a culture shock. You're just like, okay. And as a kid, you don't understand, and I'm going to use this word here, you don't understand that all of this is traumatic. You genuinely do not understand.
You just think it's kind of normal.
You
and
think,
like,
okay, well, I'm just going through life trying to learn and take it all in. You don't realize you are drinking water through a fire hydrant. And you're going and going and going until you get to, I'm 28 right now, until you get to 25, 26, 27. And you're like, why am I so jacked up? It's because I don't know who I am. I'm African. I moved when I was 7. Then I went to public, private, magnet. And then I went to an all-white middle school and high school. And then I went to a college that was pretty much segregated, divided. Like it was weird. So like now I'm like, all of this, I look back on it, I'm like, all of this was traumatic. All of this affected the way I looked at life and the way, and a lot of it I began to realize was it shaped me but it wasn't necessarily who I was. So those were some of the things that I picked up and you know, but I don't know if that answers the question.
No, it did. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is so easy to like conform to like various things.
Yeah.
And from there, like not I can't even think of the, like not follow the identity that God has like put in you.
Right.
And be influenced by like outside factors and things like that.
Right.
And it's so, and maybe this is where we can bring in your other question, because something I thought of like just related to like sarcasm and like inside jokes. Like for me, like I spent way too much time thinking about this, but like for me, I think whenever I start to feel comfortable around like a new person or a new friend is when there's like one inside joke to like reference every now and then.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like something that you have like between that person. And you're just like, all right, like we cool. Like we got something. And so at that point you could just hang with them like without other people around, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so from there, like obviously if like you're just, you know, sharing inside jokes and just all that kind of stuff, that doesn't really allow other people to feel welcome in that space.
Yeah.
Because then you have to like teach them like what this means and like just all that kind of stuff. So from there, one, I guess, do y'all relate to that in any sort of way? Like the inside joke or like other things like that?
Yeah.
In a way?
I would say so. I think African culture, everyone is very inclusive. Like you could walk into a party and not know anybody. By the end of the party, you'll leave with at least 20 friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how African culture works. And I think, you know, with African culture, Nigerian culture, I don't want to overgeneralize this, but I feel as though with Nigerian culture, we have this sense of inclusivity that we want to include everybody. We want everybody to be a part of it, right? We want people to know what we're doing. But then in American culture, it's this idea of, no, this is us, right? You know, you hear people say, like, if they don't speak English,
Yeah.
go back to where you're from.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's this idea that I'm not willing to assimilate to your culture, but I need you to assimilate to mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think of like this like overemphasis of like independence and convenience.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like those two things are placed in so high importance where it's just like we're not oftentimes willing to inconvenience ourselves for the sake of like welcoming others.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
And
right.
so then from there, like going off of this is like how do you think we can like both honor,
Yeah.
you know, whether this is like within the context of like friendships or just other social settings, like how we're able to honor like, you know, the moments that we've had with friends, you know, the jokes that we've created, things like that, but also not dive into that so much where we're able to create like a welcoming environment for people.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, because you and I talked about this on the car ride over, of just like some friends just like aren't really as I don't want to use the word extroverted because that's just overused, but like aren't really willing to go out and talk to new people at parties and whatnot. And so like, how do we create an environment for them to be able to do that? Especially in a culture that overemphasizes like independence and things like that.
Well, I'll say this. Your commitment to something will always be tested and determined by how willing you are to be inconvenienced by it.
That's
So
a
I'll
good
say
one.
that again. Your commitment to something will always be determined or tested by how much you are willing to be inconvenienced by that thing.
Yeah.
So I think in culture today, we really have to ask ourselves, how committed am I to reconciliation? How committed am I to getting to know other people? How committed am I to building bridges, right? Because look, if you look at construction, building a bridge takes months. Like
Yeah.
it takes a long time. So if all right, y'all live in Texas, in the great country of Texas.
Mhm.
If the construction workers were not committed to building the bridges,
Mm.
y'all would not go. Whew, that's good.
Yeah, dude.
Y'all would not go half the places you are able to.
Mhm.
But because they stuck to their commitment and they were willing to put in 15-hour days so that somebody else could benefit from it, that's what we got to think of.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking in the perspective of a Christian.
Mhm.
The Christian is supposed to go even a mile further.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about just the normal person. Because I know
Yeah.
not just Christians listen to this.
Yeah.
I want to talk to everybody, right? If I'm committed to building a bridge, I've signed up for that. I signed that contract. And I think a lot of people understand that it's hard, right? I want to be a bridge. I don't want to be a wall. I don't want to be, all right, this is where it stops. And that's it. I want to be the bridge to say, all right, we can continue this conversation. And I think you said it earlier, and I'm reiterating it now, is our willingness to be inconvenienced by something will determine our commitment, right? And so if you're committed to it, if you don't just say it, be inconvenienced by it. You know, be inconvenienced by the fact that you don't understand their language. You don't understand why they dress the way they dress. You don't understand half of what they're saying when they talk. Be inconvenienced by that. That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Be inconvenienced by asking Josue the hard questions of, hey, what does it mean to be a black man in America, right? This conversation spans not just the immigrant, but it spans our world, right? It spans it covers everything. So I think just, being willing to be inconvenienced by it,
I remember being in the sixth grade, I encountered, so in the neighborhood where I lived, a lot of my friends were Hmong, Hmong. So they originally...
Is that like some sort of
Asian? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
From the Laos area,
Mhm.
many,
Yeah.
many centuries ago.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're I know they're really heavily populated, like Minnesota, California, Texas, and places like that. Those are ones that I know, anyways. But I remember being young and in their neighborhood, there was about 20 of them, families, so 20 different houses.
Yeah.
So I was able to really understand a glimpse of their culture because of that. And to your point, they were so accepting of me,
Yeah.
even as a young kid. They welcomed me in.
Right.
And so for me, growing up, I had friends from all over the place. It was just so different. It was broad, and it really helped me understand a lot of different people, being able to relate to a lot of different people because of just how it was for me trying to,
Yeah.
get into the culture. And so with that, to your point of being so committed, that analogy to use of building a bridge, you're not just gonna stop halfway through, like, you know what, we're done.
We're
Y'all gonna have to jump.
We're good,
You're like, you know
dog.
what, y'all just take a detour. No, there's no detour. Like
they pretty much set you up like you on like Fast and Furious 10 or something like that.
yeah, literally,
You
you
just
gotta
gotta
start
jumping over a bridge, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dental going crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we have to be more intentional about, like, I don't know what I guess that's not even the right word, but what those that migrate to the area that we live, I don't know where those people live. So I'm
Yeah.
speaking to myself. I'm not just speaking to
Yeah.
to speak. I'm speaking to myself. Like, where's my effort to make sure that person that migrated from the Middle East or wherever it might be feels included?
Yeah.
Because just imagine you come to a new country,
Yeah.
you don't know nobody, you got a whole bunch of kids, you're trying to teach what it
Yeah.
means to be in America,
Yeah.
and they're just freaking out. You're freaking out on the inside. On the outside, you got to pretend like everything
Right.
is
It's
good.
good.
You
Never
know,
let
that's
them
such
see you
a
blink, man.
yeah.
So I think, what you're saying is, I know we're talking in the context of the immigrant. I think it applies to the person that lives in your neighborhood, in your backyard,
Yeah.
right? If you look at Tulsa, Oklahoma is where we're filming this at, for those of you who don't know. But we're filming this from Tulsa, Oklahoma, understanding that there's a very clear divide between Midtown, South Tulsa, and then North Tulsa. Everyone knows, once I say the words North Tulsa, they understand that this is where the Greenwood Tulsa Race Massacre happened. This is where all the black people live. There's a clear divide, right? And part of that is because there aren't a lot of people that are willing to be inconvenienced and go to that side of town and learn about what's going on in our neighborhoods, right? And I think it'll be hard for you to accept an immigrant when you can't even accept your neighbor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for all of us, exposure leads to expansion. When I'm exposed to something, when I'm exposed to enough, my worldview and my perspective is expanded.
Yeah.
The way I think about a thing has got to change. Because now I look at another human that does something a completely different way than I do it. And now my mind has to process, yo, there are other people in this world besides the Americans.
Yeah.
There are other people in this world besides the Chinese, besides the African, So if I'm exposed, but the problem is a lot of us don't want to be exposed to any other idea other than ours.
Yeah.
Any other idea of what life should look like besides the way you've grown up, you've known, you've done things. Like, if you go to China right now, half the stuff we do here, we cannot do at the dinner table. Chase,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've been to all these other countries.
Hey, Joshua been there too. We can give him a shout out.
My bad.
No, it's okay. We'll edit that part out. No worries.
Josue's also been there and preached a fire sermon. But what's crazy is that even in Egypt, right? In Egypt, our pastor is Egyptian. He said, anytime you walk into the room, if a new person walks into the room, every single time, everyone around the dinner table gets up. They stop eating, and and the person that walked in will go around and greet every single person. You know what that is? That's a culture of honor. When you see that, your mind expands like, wow, we don't do that with our teams. We don't do that in our organization. But they just do that at the dinner table. So all that to say is like our exposure to things, like we have to be okay with being exposed to, because once I see something, I can't unsee it. So
yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that we're hoping to do through, like, mainly for us, like the travel, culture, and service opportunities.
And y'all are doing that even through the podcast, man.
Yeah,
I think people just hearing this stuff is so powerful, so potent.
Man. Damn, I love that, and I think that's really encouraging and convicting for like all of us, because even if it's like within the context of like having people over to the house and stuff like that, like I have seen myself fall into like a tendency where it's just kind of like all right, I'll just kind of like chill there kind of thing, and like if the new people like want to introduce themselves to me, like cool, because like it's like, all right, this is my place just to be able to relax. Like I don't, for some reason I've incorrectly not seen myself have the obligation to like introduce myself to the new people and make sure that they're welcome. And so like whatever context that, you know, we each think it is, like it's so beneficial. And so from there, you know, you start to notice these differences and things like that. What, I think we could get to this and then talk about what are some of the things that the cultures can learn from one another. But did God in any way, like through your parents or through friends, teach you to emphasize like preserving like the positive parts and the things that you liked about the culture that you came from, about Nigerian culture? Or was it something where you just kind of like conformed and then from there really tried to like revive or preserve some of that stuff as you got older?
I think growing up, I never wanted to be the African kid.
That's real.
Like,
that's deep.
Growing up, bro, I never wanted to wear what people call a daishiki, which is that's not what we call it. I never wanted to wear that. I never wanted to smell like fried chicken when I walked out the house or some African stew. I never wanted to have the accent. I never wanted to be called African booty scratcher.
That's a real one.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I ran into as a kid made me hate my culture, made me hate a part of who I am that's so significant to who I am. And I've even realized this, and the Holy Spirit is getting me right now as I'm talking about this, but I don't even preach about my culture. I don't even talk about it, even to this day. Now, once you get to know me, you know I'm African. Like, you know what I'm saying? I act bush. That's different definition for a different day. But I act bush. Like I act like, yeah, man, like I'm what they call it? This way?
What?
They call it FOB.
Oh, fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. I act fresh off the boat, right? Because I don't care anymore. Like that's me. That's a part of me. If you like it, you like it. If not, bye. But I remember I hated who I was, and it really did a number on my mental because I tried to suppress it as much as possible because it was never what was soothing. It was never what was palatable for people growing up, right? And now I look back on it, I'm like, oh, we were all trying to form our worldview. We were all trying to understand what it was like to be in close parameters with so many different people and cultures. So now I look at my culture and I embrace it with everything I am. I don't shy away from it. I want to preserve it. I want to make sure my kids know how to speak my language, because I do speak another language, and I can speak it pretty well. I can understand it, pretty much to the T. But I want to preserve those parts of who I am. I don't want to just leave it in the, because that's how cultures become archaic, and that's how cultures get left behind. Is the Mayans and the Incas. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see traces and there's residue of them, but I would dare say there aren't that many around anymore. Why is that? It's probably because someone down the line was like, I don't want to keep facing the oppression, right? So all that to say, heck yeah, I want to preserve my culture. I want to preserve everything that we do, because it is a part of who we are. And people gonna have to get used to that. People gonna have to learn to like that. So
Yeah. I mean, I heard you earlier use words like traumatic and the infamous African booty scratcher. For those of you guys that don't know what that is a term that we all heard. Whenever
you
we moved to
ask
America,
any African kid.
I'm sure for a fact they've heard that term. But it brings me to
Chase,
this.
you were saying that too, man.
Chase, this is the first time hearing that. Chase has never used that word before.
He's like, I don't even know.
I'm like, what does it even mean to be a booty scratcher?
I'm just sitting here chilling.
I'm confused, but to this point, this might be for a certain group of our audience. So we went from being, the kids who had to warm up their fufu in the microwave. Your parents pack you some strong African food, and then all the kids in the cafeteria like, ew, what are you eating?
It smells bad. What is that? I don't want to sit by him.
We went from those kids to where, I don't know what happened, but there was a shift.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody wants to be African, right? And to that point, I had this girl that I was working with, Hispanic, and the Black Panther came out. And so after
that's when it
she
shifted.
loved that movie so much, she did one of those ancestor, whatever those things, that test is called. She did the test and she figured out she was like 3% Nigerian or something like that. And then she was like, I'm like you. She came up to me at work. She was like, I'm like you. I'm like, what you mean? She goes, I'm Nigerian. I said, what?
Did she look it?
She was Hispanic. She goes, I'm Nigerian. I said, you're what? She goes, Nigerian. She was like, I just love Black Panther so much. And I just feel like we can relate. I said, huh? Relate? On what? But anyway, so back to the thing, right? At some point, there was a shift that happened. And then everybody wanted to be African. Yeah. I'm sure you felt that too. So could you kind of speak to that a little bit?
I think everyone's realizing how much African culture has spoken into the world. Yeah. Watch this. Every single person that's Black, a lot of the ancestors came here where? On a boat. Where did they come from? Africa, right? Now, if you look at every single continent or whatever, right, and you take these pockets of people, of Africans, of people that, man, you got Africans in London, you got Africans in America, you got Africans in Australia, here, like you just see it in these different pockets, you realize how much the African continent has helped develop the world. It don't matter how you look at it, how you want to phrase it, the African continent has helped develop this world. That's just point blank, period. And I think, bro, have you ever met a docile African?
Mm-mm.
Pretty much.
Have you ever met an African that doesn't believe they could take over the world? I'm so serious, bro. Have you ever met an African that doesn't have supreme confidence, even if they're garbage at what they do? We know so.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, this type of psyche, you don't see it anywhere, bro.
Yeah.
That's where the shift came, is where people started realizing, yo, why are they so confident? Why is there such an internalized belief system in them that they gonna get it done? But more importantly, they actually don't even need anybody else to help them do it. They just gonna get it done.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the shift happened. You look at UFC, right?
Mm.
The welterweight, the heavyweight, and I think what's the other one? The featherweight.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think those are the three.
I think,
Yeah.
Guess who all holds the belts?
Mm.
3 African dudes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't say that because we're superior athletes. I say that because we are fighters.
Yeah.
We will tell you how the story will end. We will tell you how it should be written, how, even though it didn't go our way for a while, it will tell you how it's supposed to end. We'll tell you what it's supposed to look like, and we will come out on top every single time.
Mm.
They're just that dominant. I genuinely believe, I'm not saying this is from the Lord or whatever. I'm just saying this is what I feel and sense. I believe that there will be a great revival that starts because of the continent of Africa. Why? Because I just see that these people are so hungry and so determined to see something we've never seen before. So that's where the shift happened, bro. Mm. And then on top of that, you know, I'm not gonna say that.
We'll save it for after the pod.
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say that. That's funny. Nah. Man, y'all are asking great questions. Great questions.
Appreciate that, dog. Have you heard of the principle of anti-fragility by chance?
Anti-fragility.
So basically it started out, from what I understand, as a medical term and then has evolved into like psychological and social definition as well. But basically there's particular parts and systems within our body that are anti-fragile, meaning they grow stronger as you test them more. To whereas there's other systems where it's like it grows stronger as it's really not getting tested and not really getting used. And so the immune system is the main one where, for example, like when COVID and everything came up last year, you heard like a lot of people being like, hey, you know, you need to develop your immune system and like all that kind of stuff, which you do that through being exposed to various things of growing and growing tougher. And there's a thought as well that anti-fragility, Professor Jonathan Haidt, if anyone's interested in looking into this, is probably the main guy who's looked at this. Well, there's a big thing in the development of children, whereas developing anti-fragile children is like such a big thing. So rather than coddling them, having them go through particular tests that are that are needed is a big thing for the sake of their development and other things like that. And I think it can be true for like cultures and societies and like people groups as well. Yeah. Where I think like at least from what I've observed, particularly over the last few years, is like with a lot of the African friends that I have, there is this like development of like toughness and closeness that I think has been formed through just like this process of like anti-fragility of just going through various things to where like they just get developed in various ways, to whereas I think in America, like over the last maybe 60 to 70 years at this point, like it's something where like there hasn't really been very many tests for like the main population of America has just been super comfortable in things like that. And so at that point, it's just kind of like, all right, well, we're not really being developed. And so just speaking that over y'all as like an encouragement where, I think it is, there's things that are true where it's just like, like going through tests makes you stronger and grows you from there.
I mean, to your point, like you see some of these, I forgot what they were called, like documentaries of these kids that want to be professional athletes, but they're playing soccer with no shoes and somewhere, and they just keep going after it. The word that I think helps translate that is like almost like a work ethic type of thing that gets developed over time. Because I mean, I think it's also true for a lot of immigrant children that come here and they tend to be the top of their class a lot of times because, you know, you see your parents made such a huge sacrifice.
Exactly.
And you're just like, we've been going through all these trials. We've been going through all these different things. And it's really just helped us excel a lot more, almost like academically versus our peers that are kind of just like, you know, life situations a little bit different. So I could see. I see
and I mean, I think the biblical perspective on that, I think it may be, we talked about it in group a few weeks ago. It was like James 1 or James 3, something like that, in terms of like
testing of your patience.
Testing of your patience creates like steadfastness and endurance and things like that. And like that directly correlates with strength. And so it's
testing of your faith creates those things. My bad, I said patience.
Come on, Pastor, you're supposed to get that right.
My bad, that's me.
Goodness. We'll kind of starting to land the plane here. Because we love to ask this question, what do you think are, because I guess providing context around it, I mean, as we've talked about in private conversations also, like we definitely believe that there are like positive parts of every single culture around the world that resemble kingdom culture and that resemble the character of the Father. And that if we're willing to adopt the positive aspects of those cultures, that we think just the Father will be even more glorified and we're able to walk out his character in a better way. So what do you think are some positive aspects of Nigerian culture that American culture could learn?
Seasoning food.
Okay. I'll let you keep going. And then going off of that, what do you think are some things, some positive aspects of American culture that Nigerian culture could learn? So,
I would say the first one, I stick by my answer, seasoning food. But on a more serious note, I think the first thing that comes to mind is I think the American culture could learn from the African culture, Nigerian culture, how to be in the moment, right? I think how to, the way I'll kind of break this down is Nigerian culture, they're not very time conscious. And the reason being is...
No, keep going. I'm going to pull up a joke because this is just so funny.
The reason being is we love being with the people that we're with. We love spending time making those memories, making those moments. We love hospitality. We love just the genuineness of relationship. And I think in America, oftentimes what I've seen is everyone is on a 45-minute block or 30-minute block. Hey, once I'm done with you, I got to go to my next thing. And I think that's a lot of why we don't have the conversations we need to, you know, because everyone's an appointment. Right? Everyone becomes an appointment, not necessarily a friend or building a relationship. So I would say that's one of the biggest things that I think needs to be learned from the Nigerian culture. I think another thing is just how much I would say, the determination of Nigerian culture, right? I think just watching how There's this I never quit, never give up attitude constantly. It's just a perpetuated thing. It constantly happens. You never see them give up or throw in the towel or stop praying or stop working at it or, but I think in American culture, after a couple times, I'm like, man, is this for me? I don't know. Let me put it this way. There's a certain level of conviction when it comes to a lot of different things, especially work wise, that the Nigerian culture has, and that I would love to see more of in the American culture. Conviction about knowing what I'm supposed to do. And then the last thing that I think America can learn from Nigerian culture is stop trying to be famous. Everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants to be seen. In Nigerian culture, a lot of people don't even have the tools to be able to do that, right? Like you're living a regular life. Like that's just it. You live a regular life, and that's okay for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So those three things I would say, being in the moment, having a lot more conviction, and being okay with not being famous. I would say Nigerian culture needs to learn how to how to plan, how to plan in advance, how to have a vision, right, and stick to the vision and not change every 2 seconds or 2 minutes. I think Nigerian culture does need to be at least a little bit time conscious. That's a big one. We have a big problem. CPT, people say CPT.
Well, that's literally what I was about to say. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had so we were trying to plan a dinner for my boy Joel. He's from Uganda, and we were like,
you showed up an hour late.
All right, no, because he was aware, and so he was like, all right, we're gonna do like 7 p.m. And he texted the group, which he was the only black guy in the group, and it was like, all right, are we doing WPT or CPT? And one of the friends, like, no one texted back for like 10 minutes. And then one of the friends is just like, what is CPT? And I texted him, I'm like, bro, you don't know what CPT is? And I had to explain to him what it is. It's just like, hey, it means like gonna be pretty late. So like, just say WPT and Joel will be there on time. But it was just funny. So
no, that's real. That's real. I think that's something. Yeah, we got to change that narrative, man. We really do.
But isn't it crazy? Africans are never late to work.
Huh?
They don't go late to work.
Because you can't play with their paper, bro. You can't play with their paper.
They don't go late to work.
But everything
Church,
else,
they're going to be late. Everything else,
is going to be late.
Work?
But the moment it comes to their paper, they're like, no. Don't mess with my paper. But yeah, man, we could be a lot more time conscious. I think just CPT, for those who don't know what that is, it means colored people time. We don't use the word colored anymore also. But, I think it's just, being more efficient with our time. And so, what's another one, Josue?
I think the one that I like about American culture that I see Africans are not always the best at is
because obviously road systems.
That's a big one.
Build these bridges.
Yeah, right. You build the bridges. Right?
Commit to these bridges, man.
What I was gonna say was the family dynamic. I think I don't think we don't have to shift all the way to the other side, but because it's like you grow up as like, I'm not your friend, man. And then they want to be your friends. It's like, how? Like, how do you? Years later, they want to be your friend. It's like, how does that work?
Right.
I think parents can probably do a little better job at listening to their kids instead of just like, I know everything. You're just, like I said, you don't have to go all the way to the other extreme, but I think there's some things there that could be picked up.
That's a good one. Yeah. Chase, what about you? What do you think that you can learn from African culture?
I think, which I picked this up from like the Congolese dinner that we had, is like this. And if y'all want to correct me, y'all definitely can. But it seemed like there was this like essence of understanding your own value and seeing yourself as properly like worthy and beautiful of particular things. Like basically like seeing like you and your parents in like like traditional African clothes is like that's something that like that looks like royalty there. Yeah. Like that looks like something that is like beautiful and y'all wore it in a way where it's just like you're not trying, it's not like you're being an imposter in it, but you're being true in it, and it's something that like you feel solidified in that. To whereas a lot of other cultures
that's real
just wear other things as trying to prove something rather than like just wearing whatever and filling it out with like their character and countenance.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are good things, and I know Chase mentioned, landing the plane and all that good stuff, but I feel like every time I have Africans on here, since I'm African myself, I gotta,
you gotta
try not to get you in trouble. So this is gonna be some quick hitters. Which one is better, Nigerian jollof or
I knew this was gonna happen.
Or the other people?
Ghanaian. This guy said Sudan.
The big jollof.
I've never met a Sudanese person.
Okay, so Ghana. Yeah.
Okay.
Which one of y'all makes better jollof?
Ghanaian jollof. Nigerian for sure, because I've never tried Ghanaian jollof. So I don't know.
Me neither. I didn't know.
So I would say
I've only had Nigerian people.
Right,
jollof
but I know
rice,
this is a big argument within
is.
the African community.
Yeah.
And I think Ghanaians, you guys are blessed, but Nigeria wins.
Okay. So out of all the, African countries that who makes the best food?
Who makes the best food? I would have to say.
Give me a top 5. That way it's not just.
Ooh, top 5. Yeah. Thank you for saving me there. I would have to say Ghanaian. And not in any particular order either.
Yeah.
Nigerian. I would say, of course I'm going to say Nigerian. I would say Congolese.
Hey, shout out to us.
Shout out to the Congolese.
Yeah.
Sounds like brownie points.
Brownie points at it. No, shout out to my girl Cece. You know what I'm saying? She's Congolese. Some great chefs in that household. And then Sierra Leone. Yeah. And then South African.
I never had South African.
Yeah, South African is different, bro.
Ethiopian is omitted from the list. That is.
I've never had Ethiopian
We have
food.
a lot of Ethiopians there.
I've never had Ethiopian food. I'm
big.
tripping.
Yeah, you
clearly.
tripping, all
Next time you in Dallas.
Yeah, we're going to get you some.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Also, Indian food is good.
Oh, facts.
Yeah.
This guy. And another one. So this one is always a big debate. And once again, I don't want to get you in trouble. Give me a top 5. Because, African music is a big thing.
Oh, yeah, this is easy.
So
this is easy.
Give me a top 5. Which country makes the best music?
Nigeria. We monopolized that whole industry.
You're not being serious right now.
We monopolized
You're
that
not
whole
being
industry.
serious right now.
This is easy, bro.
You're not being serious.
We got Mr. Easy. We got David O. We got who else is on the list?
I don't know.
Man?
You're not being serious right now.
You don't even know who Congolese artists are, bro.
You're bugging right now.
You don't even know who
for you.
Come on, bro.
Come on, man.
Nigerian, dog.
That's it. Just Nigerian.
That's it. Like, there's no other country that's doing it like Nigeria is, man.
You're not being serious right now.
Bro, we got Burna Boy. We got freaking, what's his name?
I don't know.
Malik Berry.
Who?
Bro, we're doing it,
That
bro.
sounds like a dude from All American.
What? Malik.
Oh no!
My man said from All American.
Yeah, shout out to season 4. I'm watching that right now. Okay, last one. Since apparently that one was too easy for you.
What do you think? Congo?
Music?
Come on,
Come on,
keep
bro.
going,
You're not
keep
being
going,
serious right now.
keep going,
I ain't gonna hold you. You're
dog.
not being serious right now. All right. So, once again, top 5 best dancers.
Congolese.
Oh, of course.
I'll give that to you.
Okay, I was about to say, I just want to make sure
I've
you
seen
know.
some of that hip work.
Ooh, it's different.
I've seen some of that.
It is different.
Just because of that hip work, I would marry a Congolese woman. She probably do some weird things. Anyway, keep going, bro. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh no, man! I think that's all we can handle for now. Yeah,
that's a great way to end.
They're gonna
We're gonna get y'all in trouble.
Yeah,
that's a great way to end.
Yeah, we're gonna get you canceled. That's the word, right? Cancel culture. That's the word, right? Yeah,
man, honestly, I appreciate y'all having me on here.
Yeah.
It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. So
yeah, man. What happened about a month and a half ago if Josue wouldn't have missed his flight back from Cali?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Hey, you're working on it.
I was thinking of business. You're not that good. Speaking of, what did you just say?
What?
You say okay, so
oh gosh,
that's a thing that the kids are doing on TikTok now, right?
Yeah.
When did we start doing that?
When did we, like our generation?
No, us. When were we doing that?
Oh, we were doing that in college. Easy, bro.
In college.
We just didn't have the platforms to make that.
That's crazy.
I know, right? We
know
could have
what I'm
been billionaires by now, bro.
Anyways, that's my little grab. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Let me get off my, what they call it, high horse?
Yeah. Get off your high horse.
Silver spoon.
As always, English isn't my first language, so I'm still learning. I'm still getting better.
Oh my gosh. That was great. Yeah, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for opening up the home. All that, dude.
Yeah, dog. It ain't as nice as Chase's, but it's still something.
Chill.
That's true.
Bro, chill. Goodness gracious. But yeah, we'll have you on for round 3 soon.
Come on.
So we could do it actually in video.
Yeah.
Do it down in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a wife, so
put
me on the camera, dog.
Yeah,
we got
bro.
you, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We had a couple people message actually about Joel. So,
Bro,
but he got a girl now. So if anyone's still interested in Joel, he's taken.
Y'all
now.
really-
We call it perspectives.
Matchmaking. I don't know.
Matchmaking, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
We'll come out with that soon.
But yeah, we'll put a post on social media so you can see Segun's face
Wow.
and see from there if you want to be interested.
The internet might break, you feel me? That'd be crazy.
I mean, this boy hadn't posted on Instagram in however many months. So
I can't access my Instagram
What does that even
because
mean?
no, it's serious. Instagram sent me a message and said, "Hey, we've officially logged you out of your account because you're not 13 years old."
Why did you put that you were 13? Wait, no, let's not end yet. We gotta get to the bottom of this one.
Okay, let's get to the bottom of it. So I never put my actual birthday in there. I didn't, because that's a feature. Like you can just skip it.
Right.
So when you create the account, so I created my account, not putting my birthday in there, and then about a year and a half later, they got me and they said, "Excuse me, sir, we need you to prove that you are 13 and older." And I said, "Look at the pictures on my account. I'm bald,
Yeah.
and I have a full beard. If I'm not 13." But you know how Africans be lying about their age, so you never know.
Oh no. Oh,
Anyway,
goodness.
so we're signing off.
Oh man. Yeah.
Y'all can close this down.
Yeah. We got to end this before we get someone in trouble.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh my goodness.
It'll be good. But yeah, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Thank y'all, man.
I'm looking forward to this pizza. It's gonna be
Get
good.
some pizza.
Let's get it. So
Empire Pizza. Shout out.
Yeah. That'll be a wrap for us today, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. All of Segun's information is gonna be in the description if you want to go check out any of his inactive social media accounts. And all of the information for Perspectives will be in the description also if you want to support us, podcast outreach, all that fun stuff. So thanks again for tuning in. Till next time, much love. God bless.